Welcome to another episode of NeverEndingPanel.com. Tonight's episode is about what makes...
10 minutes?
Yes, it's about... No, it's actually about 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Now that we have the fancy new intro and outro brought to you by Jim, a fabulous Jim. Yes.
Wonderful Jim.
Anyways, what makes a science fiction writing legend? That is going to be our topic tonight. We have special guest tonight, Darnell Coleman, who is on the board of LASFES. He is also the assistant librarian of LASFES and a Baptist minister, which makes him well qualified to tell us what makes a science fiction writing legend. Of course, next to Baptist minister Darnell Coleman is Eitan Collin, who is part of the Collin production and one of the co-creators of the show, and also happens to be my brother. So, what makes a science fiction writing legend?
Actually, Darnell really wanted to take this one.
Oh, I did?
So, yes, he
Well-
was insisting that he speak on this, and I'm just going to let him.
I did.
go.
Well, since I'm not a writer, as Marty may back me up on that one.
Marty?
You are probably more important.
Is he a writer?
You're probably more important than a writer, though. You are a reader.
Marty has backed
A
you
reader.
up. You're not a writer.
You far more than...
Get him off the panel. Security.
No.
Heinz. Now I pissed off the German community. Why is everybody who's German named Heinz a bodyguard?
I
Never mind,
suppose
go
if the
ahead.
writing has something
Readers, I think,
different,
far more determine who legends
Yeah,
are than
right.
writers do.
right? I suppose if the writer has something interesting, which is a cop-out statement, then it could last.
Well, you got to define the criteria for legend.
Why am I chosen first for this?
Oh, because I want to put you on the spot.
Oh,
Yeah.
well then, I suppose it has to be exciting, the writing, and it has to be
Well-
an easy read.
Easy read.
Harlequin romance is exciting and easy to read. That doesn't quite make legends.
You're
I
right.
think your criteria are flimsy, man.
I'll be better next time.
Oh,
Ed,
I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here.
you? Gosh, but you're so
Ed, you're so reticent.
you know,
Shy.
pulling that stuff out of you is so hard. You know, you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Ed actually wants to say
It's
something.
something that imprints itself, something they write imprints itself on the public's conscience that they just can't let it go. For example, The Lord of the Rings. It resonated.
The what?
What?
Oh, cut that out.
The Lord of the Rings resonated through the readership so much that it has been one of the few books that's constantly in print. Contemporary writers, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter novels have just taken the audience by storm, and she's become a legend.
And I know I'm gonna, piss off legions of fans. I don't think she's a good writer. I think she's a good storyteller.
Well,
And so, in other words, so can you be an okay writer and a great storyteller, and that makes you a legend?
Yes,
in other words,
absolutely.
okay.
Yes, you can.
So, and there are, I think, plenty of
And here's the
examples of
reason-
that.
and here's
And
the
you can
reason
have
why.
great writers who are not so good storytellers. Don't
here's
become
the reason
legends.
why. I think what makes legendary writing is your ability to place yourself as a reader there. I think what Heinlein had with Starship Trooper, what if I was in the mobile infantry? What Asimov had with Foundation, what if I had the ability to predict the future for an entire country or empire?
Yeah, but every
You
science
read-
fiction book is a what-if scenario. What is it about
but I'm
that
saying-
what-if scenario that makes Heinlein legendary?
Because the idea is more compelling. It's not like, what if I had a gun and can shoot people?
I don't think it's that the
But it
idea
is
more
about
compelling. I think it's that
Foundation.
it's challenging.
What it is about Foundation is it is such a neat idea of psychohistory. It's such a neat idea to be at Hogwarts. What classes would I take?
Right.
That it.
And then we get back to
it
that famous
inspires
Philip,
and it
Philip
clicks
K. Dick
in
thing,
with
right?
the individual who then goes ahead, and that's what propels it above the average or the ordinary.
Soundman Tim.
Well, fiction is about sort of, finding the things which people are weenie about, their hopes and dreams and their secret fantasies, and then, catering to them, pandering to them, right? Now, if you can pander to them with an excellent idea, but don't most science fiction novels ultimately boil down to, hey, you're kind of a geeky person, but here in this alternate world, your geeky skills are rewarded, and you are suddenly like recognized as the genius that you are. I mean, isn't that like 90% of science fiction?
No, interestingly enough, 90% of science fiction, from my understanding, there was a very interesting article in Reason magazine last year. It was highlighting Tor, a publisher that we are well familiar with. Cheap. Absolute cheap plug of, never mind. It talked about science fiction being a vehicle by which people who feel outside of society find a person who says "screw you" to society, and it's not so much that they're geeky; it's that it's the ultimate kind of rebel. And so many of those protagonists are rebellious in science fiction, and so I guess it represents that for them. Who we have some hands up here.
Yeah, well, I think a great example of something that people don't notice so much is when somebody tries to take something off the market. A good example is Marion Zimmer Bradley's first Darkover book, Sword of Aldonis, was written when she was 17 years old. She hated it, but the fans loved it. It was so sweet and innocent because the one guy constantly running in, Lou, you're in trouble. You're
Right,
in danger.
the Sherlock Holmes novels are all,
Arthur Conan Doyle actually
he didn't want to
killed
write them.
Sherlock Holmes.
He wanted to write highfalutin stuff, but the fans wouldn't let him. They wanted that.
But there has to be a-
because Walheim wanted to do what she wanted.
Finish
Got the
sentence
Ace
ending.
books-
Well,
books
let's-
from
Ending sentence
Ace,
over
Hold
to-
on.
wait.
Now you can't buy it, but there are people all over the place trying to buy
Wait.
that book.
Cameraman Frank's been waiting very patiently.
It's just weird. That's all it is.
Thank you very much.
It's just weird. Okay,
Ed.
when we go.
Back to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Audience more important than us. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ed, are you more important than me?
Yeah. You go to you see the Grammy Awards. I'd like to thank the fans. I'd like to thank the audience. I'd like to. Right?
No, that's
Audience
good.
more
Ed, are you
important.
more important than me?
I don't know.
Aw.
I'd have to say he is then, yeah.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, for the humility factor alone.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had one really big fan who demanded he write another book. And when Queen Victoria says, do it, you do it.
That's a big fan. Yes, Eitan.
But again, what makes the great writing? Sherlock Holmes is a really good example. Arthur Conan Doyle hated Sherlock Holmes, and he gave him all of these faults. He came from a broken marriage. His mom was an adulterer, which back in Victorian England was literally just the worst possible thing. He was a drug addict. He was obnoxious. He was annoying. He had all these odd, quirky, horrible habits. He hung out with little boys on the street. I mean, it's every little thing that Arthur Conan Doyle could throw at this guy. And what he didn't realize, though, is he was making legendary status, because every fault he gave Sherlock Holmes made Sherlock Holmes more accessible.
So
More
you're
interesting,
saying
more
that
fascinating. I read
characters or stories that are more humane somehow, or more vulnerable,
something
or more,
about them clicks in.
more
I
heroic
read-
in terms of the Achilles heel.
I read a series of books about a magical universe with a Sherlock Holmes-like character where the Anglo-French Empire never fell. What the heck was that called?
Darcy.
Lord Darcy series.
I knew it.
It was great. It was fun, but it wasn't magical because his character was too perfect. His character was so great, so whatever, that it was okay to read and then kind of forget about. Sherlock Holmes, this flawed SOB is wonderful to read.
Charles Lee Jackson II.
Yes, although Conan Doyle did despise Sherlock Holmes, he loved Professor Challenger.
Oh, John Challenger.
Of the Lost World, and in fact, although he made the character irascible and annoying, and like several of the different doctors over the years, he even portrayed Professor Challenger, posing for pictures as Challenger. The first edition of The Lost World has a photograph of the expeditionary party, and he appears there as Professor Challenger. He loved Challenger, but the public didn't embrace the character, so he hated the public too.
I'm thinking we're probably going to need a part 2 on this panel, because it sounds to me like we're picking out our favorite stories or favorite authors. I'm not sure that we've gotten to the meat of what makes them, in our minds, legends, or not just our minds, but popular culture. It seems to me we would have to break that down into they meet certain criteria. But since the executive producer is now telling me cut, we are going to cut and end this session and this episode of NeverEndingPanel.com.
Please make
Thank
your
you all for
comments
being here.
over there. Or
There.
No,
Nope, down there.
Down there.